Yo, and welcome to a special edition of Off Topic. Um, this is going to be something that we're flirting with, something we're trying out moving forward. Before we get started, how are you doing, Doug?
Doing good, man. Doing good. I'm excited for the new venture. That's the main thing. So, lead us into the new brand.
And for everybody who doesn't know, Doug has been making a killing on sports betting. Looks like he's about to get a new estate, so can't wait for that. So last week we just had some fun picking with conspiracy theories, and we said we were going to do a whole show with conspiracy theories, and we are. But right before we got on, I saw something that I can't just not ask you about.
Okay.
What are your thoughts on the new Dragon Ball series coming out next year?
I don't give a fuck. I could give a shit less, unfortunately. And I really have enjoyed Dragon Ball for a majority of my life. But when I tell you I could care less, I absolutely mean it 100%.
I don't see how this fits into anything.
Why should we care?
If it was just going to be a movie, I would get it. But why make it a series? Make this a quick 2-hour movie. Why? They're not going to go the full GT route and introduce Super Saiyan 4, which is all anybody cared about from GT. So what is the point of this?
I don't know. It came out of left field. I just do not care. Also, you're wrong about GT. The concept of the Black Star Dragons is actually fantastic. No, it just is. The energy built up from the bad, from the wishes and all that shit.
That's okay.
And the dragons were actually half of them were actually pretty coolly designed. Omega Shenron was a badass. I mean, there's a lot of stuff in GT that does suck, but there's some really cool concepts mixed in that are borderline excellent.
For me, I really like Super Saiyan 4, and I really like the concept of Baby. Like a race that just hated the Saiyans and were dominated by the Saiyans. I like that concept.
The Tuffles, yeah.
For those of you who haven't seen, new series called Dragon Ball, I believe it's pronounced Daima, Daima. Dragon Ball Daima starts this time next year, fall of 24. And the premise is that someone made a wish on the Dragon Balls and turned all of Earth's heroes into children again. So Vegeta, Piccolo, Goku, everybody's a little kid. If you wanted to do a little kid show, why not run with Goten and Trunks?
Because they don't give a shit about Goten and Trunks either. Like, they don't care.
I'll tell you what I actually would like to see, though. Seeing a, young Master Roshi does objectively seem a little cool to me. I don't give a shit about the rest of it, but young Roshi seems kind of cool. But
yeah, I mean,
if you're a Dragon Ball fan, you're not eating good right now. It's tough to be a Dragon Ball fan at the moment, but you'll probably get another good video game in the next 2 years. So,
yay! We got another Budokai. We got Budokai 8. Woo-hoo.
Yeah, Budokai's coming out. There you go.
Let's play the same 12 levels again. Woo.
Okay, so here's what's making this special. Conspiracy talk. I have 3 conspiracy theories, and I'm going to warn you. One of them is bad. This is far out there.
I'm so excited.
So it's going to be in 3 parts. 1, I'm going to explain the theory. Part B, we're going to shit on it, pretty much. We're going to judge it. And part C, we're going to kind of analyze it critically and say, what would it take for us to believe this or something like this?
Yes.
Like, maybe we could believe a lesser, watered-down version of this, all right? Okay.
All right, let's do it.
So, number 1. This is where we're starting, so this is how you know it's... Number 1 is government-controlled weather machines. So, there's a number of theories for this, a lot of them. But the 2 least insane theories is that everyone knows what chemtrails are. If you don't know what chemtrails are, whenever you see like a jet or a plane fly over your house and it's like they leave, it looks like they're making clouds.
It's the
like,
tail of the airplane fluid. It's the
Yeah.
tail of the airplane. It's literally looks like a cloud.
Yeah. So the theory is that chemtrails are emitted from planes, and the chemicals emitted react in the atmosphere to control the weather however the government wants. This can be causing droughts, floods, hurricanes, or whatever else. So that's the first half. There's another very popular one. There's a research facility in Alaska called HARP, the High Frequency, there's no F in this for some reason, High Frequency Arctic Auroral Research Program. I'm sorry, Arctic, I pronounced that wrong. Arctic Auroral Research Program.
Okay.
It was funded by the Air Force and by DARPA. The purpose of it is to study the upper limits of the atmosphere so we can have improved radio wave technology, which, kind of cool. And the theory with this place is that from this location, they can use radio waves and high frequencies to cause storms and cause weather wherever they want. So that's the explanation. I'll tell you, as a science fiction fan, I kind of like the first idea with the chemtrails. We don't believe it, but I kind of like it.
I think that one's a lot easier to get behind.
Yeah.
Than using radio frequencies and things like that to affect the weather.
Yeah.
Because there's never been any correlation between weather and a man-made radio frequency. That just doesn't make sense.
I agree.
The chemtrails, you could even go deeper into like a science way. Like, what are they putting into the engines that are burning off that would mix with the atmosphere? So you could maybe play into like elements and things like that with the chemtrails more than the Air Force, like the radio waves controlling the weather. When you first brought this up, I thought you were going George Bush hurricane machine.
It's a
and I thought this was gonna go sideways right off the bat.
No.
I think we both agree that chemtrails is the more likely of them.
If we had to pick one, yeah.
But I hate to be this guy, but like in barren places, like in like wastelands that are in droughts and stuff like that,
why not do it?
How often are you seeing an airplane fly over those places? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like they would have to be frequent for it to keep happening.
So I've heard conspiracy theories around chemtrails before. And the ones I've heard is that, usually you see them more often over like poor places and minority places, and where like poor neighborhoods were full of minorities. And like a lot of people believe like, oh, it's, slowly poisoning people. Like, I've heard that before. But the idea that you put some chemical in the air and because of that it draws more clouds and makes it rain, or it keeps clouds from forming so it doesn't rain. Like, I don't hate that I could never believe it.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing with weather for me really is that if we could cause natural disasters, there would just be no troops on the ground.
No, there wouldn't need to be. So
like, imagine if you could just send a fucking tornado through wherever we're at war with right now.
Right.
Like, if you can just make a tornado, like that's gonna do more damage than anything we have other than a nuke.
If you could also like even like to spin it a different way, just like just to localize it to like America. Obviously, we're Americans, so that that's how we have to deal with these kind of things sometimes. Could you imagine like if people that lived in Tornado Alley all those years, and like how many people have died through tornadoes, like through Tornado Alley, if they figured out that the government could just chemtrail the weather and we wouldn't have tornadoes? Like it would be very bad.
Kansas would revolt.
Like I just also to counter like Air Force bases, I don't feel like are in low budget areas. So I'm confused on like how they decided that.
Here's the thing: it's a theory. I don't.
No, I know. I just was like some theories do start off in like fact, and it just spins into something that it's not.
I will say, when I lived where I grew up, I did notice more
But you also
chemtrails.
lived in Dayton, the
Right.
airport.
That's what I'm saying. I noticed more there than I do where I do now, than living where I do now. But also, I don't think I look for them anymore. So
You just know it's there.
yeah. So I would give that one about a 7. It's not absolutely insane, but
It's not terrible.
Yeah, it's something you can get with. So before we moved on, last week after our show, I got a message on Twitter from someone who watches us talking about conspiracy theories, and this is great. We are not going to speak specifically bad about the person he's describing.
I might, and I apologize to that person, but if it's really this bad, I might have to just come unglued on you. I'm sorry.
He said, my dumbass sister was trying to tell me how the Hawaii fires were from a laser weapon in the sky, and that celebrities painted their roofs blue because the laser can't burn that color. I was like, there's no way. He continued. She showed me a TikTok of one of those industrial lasers that remove the rust from metal. And in the video, it's lighting shit on fire. And they pointed at something blue and it doesn't burn it. I explained that the light you see the laser pointing at is just so you can see what the laser's aiming at, because the laser itself is invisible. And the person making the video is just turning it off when they pointed at the blue shit. And that there's idiots like her who think it's not burning. And she was just like, nuh-uh. I'll tell you, this made me laugh. This was great.
I gotta tell you, a big ass laser in the sky would be sick. At the same time, what was the benefit? What was the benefit of the laser destroying the houses in Hawaii?
That's where all these come from that you just really get stuck at.
There's no benefit to it.
If like Kim Jong-un's house caught on fire and he died in a fire, like if somebody said, "Oh, the government did a laser," like I can at least see how that helps.
Yeah, like if we're attacking specific targets and things like that with a laser, sure.
Why don't we burn a top 5 tourist destination in the country? Like what's the point?
Yeah, like there's no gain, and that's where I draw. Like that's where I have a hard time with some of these things. While I do think the big ass laser in the sky would be really cool, it's just really hard to get behind when there's no gain of just destroying Hawaii. Like Hawaii doesn't do anything. They're just good people, and
people from around the world want to go there. It makes no sense to raise half of Hawaii when it hurts us more than anything.
Yeah, so she believed that the laser wouldn't cut the blue, like it wouldn't cut the blue. Oh man, that's rough.
It's tough.
Feel bad. Feel bad for that family.
I 100% appreciate them reaching out.
Oh yeah, that's so awesome.
On Twitter, that was great.
Oh, okay, here for you guys. If you have crazy conspiracy theories that you want to share on the show, please send them to us on Twitter. Do whatever. We're at off topic. Khadeem's at catastrophe, at Doug Stevens 35 for me. Find us and hit us up. We will read your conspiracy theory, and we may shit on it, or we may conform to a new religion. You never know. If it's convincing enough, we may conform to a new religion. It's very possible. So hit us up. We're also going to get active on TikTok again. #conspiracies on all of our posts going forward. Find us and convert us to Scientology. That's all I'm asking.
Do it. All right.
Okay, keep going.
This one is one you've heard from probably the worst people. This one is about false flags and distraction.
Oh my God.
For people who don't know, a false flag is a term that's used whenever there's a tragedy that occurs, like a mass shooting or a terrorist attack.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, people believe that these tragedies are used as ploys by the government for a social goal or control. An example of this would be when there's a mass shooting and people talk about gun control, right? Like people say, oh, the government faked this mass shooting so they could take our guns away from us. That's one. Distractions, you hear a lot more dumb people talk about. And it's not even a clear cut theory. It's just like whenever something big happens that dominates the news cycle for a couple days, you'll get theories that this event is happening. So the world's attention looks one way.
Yeah.
So the government or some secret power can sneak something past us the other way. A good example of this would be a couple months ago. Remember that submarine? It really wasn't a submarine. That refrigerator full of billionaires went to the bottom of the ocean and blew up. Like that really did control everything in the news for about 2 or 3 days.
It really did.
And people were saying like, oh, they want you to be looking at this as a distraction so you won't see whatever the fuck happening to the left. Where do you sit with this one?
To me, this one does make sense. Like logically. Like if you wanted to do something, you create a distraction. Like to me, that part makes sense. But it's also that I'm viewing it on like a person to person level. Like if I want, like it's more like I'm viewing it as like a sleight of hand type thing. I want you to look here, but the card's over here. Like to me, that part makes sense. I just don't know, and I hate to put it this way, if shooting children is the best way to pull off something behind our backs.
Here's my biggest issue with it. Well, that one's the false flag. That's not the distraction. So
it's kind of both, though.
I guess in a way. My problem with the distraction thing is that what is the benefit? Like, for example, if we see something happening, just say the government does something and we see it happening, we can't do shit about it. 70% of the country was outraged when Roe v. Wade got overturned. Yep. And we heard about it and had to go to work the next day. Like,
it's true.
I don't see why there needs to be some, oh, the government's going to sign this bill when no one's looking. You know, everybody's watching, you know, the news to see the billionaire so we can sign this bill. Like, they can do it anyway. They can just not put it on TV. If we're assuming that we're working with if we're assuming the government is evil or corrupt or whatever, why distract it and just sign it in secret and keep it moving?
That's a good question. That's a good way to counter that. Yeah. So what do you think the government's hiding from us with having Taylor Swift at all the Chiefs games?
God damn it. Okay, that's the one thing. I've seen so much of it. There might actually be something sinister going on here. Because I'm just so goddamn sick of it.
It's so bad. Yeah, so there's got to be something going on behind the scenes with all this coverage of Taylor Swift.
I take back what I just said about distractions. Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have made me believe that's real. As far as false flags, I'm not. I just, kind of like you, I don't think there's enough gang violence and normal person-to-person violence that I don't think you really have to go shoot up a school to prove the point that guns shouldn't be in the hand of, you know, people. If that's the point you want to make, you can make that without these.
I think it happens, but I don't think it happens in the way that, like, just hurting children just seems like such a crazy way. You know, I don't know. I think it does happen on some level, but I guess I don't want to believe it happens in that way. Because to me, it has to happen somehow. But I don't, again, like you said, they're the government. Well, they don't have to hide. They could just do it, and it wouldn't matter. I don't know.
We can say tomorrow, or, you know, if we're really assuming everything is corrupt, if we're assuming the president, the Congress, the Supreme Court, the Senate, they can just sign something tomorrow saying no more guns. And the police comes to everybody's house and just starts taking guns. If you're one of those, well, they'll kill me for it. Like, yeah, they'll kill you for it. Like, you're not going to beat the United States military. So I don't see where the win is there.
That's a fair point.
Now, if this only happened right around election time, then, you know, that might make more sense.
That would be good. That's a good way to put that. Yeah, that's fair.
We'll start.
What?
You hear that?
No.
Okay.
Team had a slight issue. We're back on track now.
Sorry. It might be the government listening. Oh shit.
These guys know we have distractions all over.
Okay. This one is the one that I wasn't planning originally. I was planning to do one on celebrities being clones, and
Yeah.
while researching that, I fell down this rabbit hole, and this is just so fucking kooky. Okay, there is a legitimate conspiracy theory that celebrities are using the blood of trafficked kids for rituals to stay young. This theory states that there are Satan worshipping global and Hollywood elites that run a massive child trafficking ring to drain the blood of children and harvest a certain chemical. I'm not going to say it because I saw TikToks on it and none of them said the word. It makes me think you get banned for it. But it's like adrenaline, drain a certain chemical, and they do a blood ritual and it makes them stay young. This comes from an old, very hateful conspiracy theory about the Jewish people, that they used to use the blood of non-Christians for the same thing. This has been attributed to a bunch of celebrities and globalists, but specifically people like Oprah, Beyonce, the Clintons, George Bush, and I'm sorry, not George Bush, Bill Gates, and the Obamas.
Okay, I was gonna say George Bush. I mean, as wild as that man is, I just don't picture him drinking blood.
That's a hell of
Dick Cheney, on the other hand, I could see his ass drinking some blood.
He was shooting people. I guess my thing is like, if you really believe this, you have to believe magic exists, right?
Do we have to believe that? Do we have to believe magic exists, or do they?
That's I'm saying. For them to believe this.
To me, we know that celebrities have been massively involved in sex scandal, child, that kind of stuff. So that part isn't that far away from me. But for just a massive group of people to be drinking the blood of children, that seems like a lot.
And my thing is, like, have you seen Jimmy Carter? He's old as shit. Like, Hillary Clinton's old as shit. I don't even know if Jimmy Carter's still alive right now. I think he is. But
Pretty sure he's dead.
Well, there we go. Like, there are a bunch of old people. Like, look at Hillary. Like, they say the Clintons. The Clintons are accused of everything. They look old. What are they doing to stay young? Like, why isn't it?
I mean, this is just classic vampire shit. I mean,
yeah, it's. Crazy.
I mean, this. Do you not remember? This was really big a couple years ago with Lady Gaga.
Really?
Like, this was really big with her. Like, people were coming out in droves talking about Lady Gaga drinking blood, and I think eating human heart, maybe. Also, I think Armie Hammer was involved in it somehow too. And Armie Hammer is a fucked up dude. Too.
He's
a fucked up dude.
Wasn't he domestic violence?
Yeah, being a piece of shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just rich elite people, I don't know where to draw the line with them, because it just seems like anything's possible when you have a certain amount of money.
I can tell you what's not possible. The blood of a child making you young again.
No, we know for a fact that does not work.
Like,
we know for a fact.
If you want to say that there are a bunch of rich, people who traffic children, sure, because there are a bunch of poor people who do it. Like, that's something that I would be willing to believe. But when you say that it's a Satan worshiping cult who uses the blood of children to make themselves young, that's where I'm like, that's. And how would anybody know this too? Like, that's the other thing. How does anyone? It just seems really stupid.
Yeah, I'm with you on that one.
That's a zero for. I just can't get with this one.
Yeah, no, I mean, I don't believe it makes you younger, if that's part of it. I don't, obviously, but for me, I think it is possible that rich elite do this.
Really?
What white rich elite? Let me fix that. White rich elite. White.
So you so
this is not a black people thing.
The Clintons and Bill Gates, maybe, but Oprah, Beyonce, and the Obamas are clean.
Yeah, I draw the line at white. It's got to be. This is a white people thing for sure.
He owned it. He took credit for this one. I was alrighty.
I mean, look. This is just like being a serial killer. It's not a black people thing. There's very rarely a black serial killer. This is white people stuff. We love fucked up stuff. We love it.
I can't argue. I'm listening. You're going.
Yeah, no, I mean, it just seems like that's what it is.
Well, that was our list of our 3 extremely and growing crazier conspiracy theories. We're deciding now how we're going to do this. Are we going to do conspiracies nonstop? Are we going to do like one a month, just like this, where we just only focus on conspiracies? We're trying to make room, but this was a lot of fun. Doug is finding the next 3.
Yep. And next week I'll be back with three of my own conspiracies for Khadeem. Yeah, I'm excited to find 3. Mine probably will come from X-Files because I still love X-Files to this day, and that was all about conspiracies and that kind of weird shit. Guys, we're gonna put this back on audio. So if you're listening to this on audio, we're trying to build up that too, along with our YouTube. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, all the major audio sites. We're gonna put it all on there. Also, please hit us up on YouTube, TikTok. We're going to be back on.
Send us stuff if y'all want us to read it. Like when I got that message about the conspiracies, I was so happy.
Please send us your conspiracies. We would love to read them.
Doug will link our Twitters in the bio of this video.
Yes, it will. They will be in there. I'll even put our email. I'll put our email in the information. Our email, not your email.
Oh, okay. Oh shit.
And, Khadeem, this was fun. I can't wait for next week. Let's keep it rolling. Again, find us on all these streaming platforms. Hit us up on podcast audio. We're going to be there. We're going to try to make this a little bit more streamlined and a better episode each week. And this was just the start of the new off topic. So, Khadeem, get us out of here.
Well, we will see you all until next time, unless some assassin clips us for this show.
See, that's what we need. We need to get to assassin level quality.
I might bow out before then. I'll sell my rights before then.
All right, guys. This has been Off Topic. We'll see you next week.
Later, people.